Gerald Willis not getting drafted. Yeah, that was a mess. That was a mess. And, for a guy who should have been first team All-American, that's really disappointing, and I know he's a fifth-year senior, and there's an age thing that goes with that. Like I'm playing MLB The Show, and I don't try to draft guys in the video game who are 23 or 24. You want to draft the 18, 19-year-olds for longevity purposes. So, the fact that he was a fifth-year senior might have played into it. But Manny Navarro from The Athletic, he and also the Sun Sentinel and also Miami's rival site, Kane Sport, they all wrote pieces about this. And, there were just multiple issues. And this is pretty much what everybody thought. Number one, the University of Florida and their coaching staff from when Gerald Willis was there talked negatively about him, being a troublemaker and things like that. And, if you think back to yourself when you were 18 or 19 years old, you listener, watcher right now, probably made some wise or unwise or indelicate decisions. And Gerald Willis did the same thing. A point that was brought up in one of the pieces that I read, one of those, I forget which one, so forgive me. That's why I tried to name all of the pieces or all the outlets that wrote them. Two of the players with whom Gerald Willis had big problems and confrontations in his year at Florida, their fathers were Fred Taylor and Jack Del Rio, who are well connected in the NFL. Both of them, Jack Del Rio's been coaching in the NFL for years, well connected. Fred Taylor, same thing. So if those guys are talking to their peers and colleagues, hey man, don't take this kid. And they're on the same age level, so they're not even talking up in a chronological way to guys in the front office. They are their actual peers and have been for many, many years. So if they say, hey, do not take this kid because this kid's a jerk because he did whatever to my son and he's got to pay the price for that and there's got to be consequences for those actions, you're going to listen to that, especially if you're friends with Fred Taylor and Jack Del Rio. So that's one thing. The coaching staff at Florida when he was there, they reportedly were very negative in their comments about Gerald Willis, as were coaches, plural, from Miami during the Al Golden and Mark Richt tenures. I don't know who those coaches are, obviously, but when you have coaches from three different regimes at two different schools, including the school from which you are graduating now, that's problematic. And I don't necessarily agree with what they're saying, but I don't necessarily have the full story either. But when you put all those things together, that is more than enough for him not to get drafted. Players have gone undrafted for far less than getting in fights with the sons of two well-known NFL people who are still associated with the league and getting negative recommendations or negative stories, negative feedback from coaches at two different schools and three different coaching staffs. Guys have gone undrafted for far, far less. And on top of that, whatever it was that made Gerald Willis miss the 2017 season when he took his personal leave of absence, whatever that issue was, it is hard for me to think that had no role in this also. I do not know what that is. I cannot speak on that. But again, when you're adding all these things together, that's more than enough, probable cause for him not to get drafted. Now, you also want to talk about people saying, oh, he's ineffective or ineffectual in the run game, or he doesn't do this or he doesn't do that. I say turn on the tape because I don't necessarily agree with that. But yeah, so it was pretty sad, but being able to pick and choose his own spot as an undrafted free agent. Once it got to like the 6th round, I was hoping he was going to be undrafted. So he had the agency to pick his own destination. He's going to Baltimore, and Miami Hurricanes have had great success in Baltimore with the Ravens. And I fully expect Gerald Willis to make the roster and be in the league for, 8, 10, 12, 13 years. I honestly believe that. So, we'll see what happens. But, it was very unfortunate that he was, of the draft eligible guys, was not drafted. There were some other ones who were undrafted as well. But, there were guys who had Gerald Willis as a 2nd, 3rd round grade, and he went undrafted. That was what the unfortunate part of it was.
My beloved Cleveland Browns selected Sheldrick Redwine.
Yep.
How do you think he projects to the next level?
Well, we just wrote about Sheldrick on State of the U, so I urge you to go look at that. But Sheldrick was a lifelong teammate of Jaquan Johnson. I've said it before. They were born in the same hospital on the same day. They went to the same elementary school, played on the same Optimus team, played middle school and high school and college together. Redwine was a cornerback for a while, and then he moved over inside to safety, and he hits, and he's got good size. So I will say that, but nothing more. And then, kind of do the whole plug thing, because we did just write in about him in depth. I don't know if it was today or yesterday. I think it was yesterday. Yeah, it was yesterday up on State of the Youth. So just be sure you go check that out. But I think that he will transition pretty well, and I think that he'll, find a home in that Brown secondary.